Good morning. Well, I guess we'll see if we'll make some money today. I did end up playing XPEV later in the morning. Morning, Clark. Yeah, but it looks like it sold off real quick. Might be a good runner at 6 o'clock. Isn't it nice to wake up and you turn on your ThinkorSwim and all the stocks are already found for you and staring right at you? Were you able to trade INVO or you're waiting on 6 o'clock? Yeah, it would be nice if they would let us trade anytime the market was available. All right, here we go. Not seeing anything standing out. If there was something taking off, it would be up here at the top of the list. This one's frozen. Well, that looks like a soft start. Nothing standing out. I sure thought SIGA would make a move, but it's just sitting there dormant, channeling to the side. I'll leave it on the chart in case it decides to move, unless something else pops up. Looks like TUP may be moving here. Need those two moving averages to cross over and get a green spike. Also need to see green here. They're up here because I'm on the tick chart, but we can wait on this crossover. It's looking pretty weak on TUP. I wouldn't chance it here. What you want to see on these stocks is right here. You want to see a crossover and an arrow with strong upward momentum. We had a crossover here, but no arrow. It may be coming right after this red candle. Now we need some volume. Yeah, we're not going to get it. There's not enough volume in this stock. There's not enough interest. It hasn't even broken above pre-market high. That would be the level I would start getting interested. On my screen, I buy the ask and sell the bid. Sometimes I join the ask to see if I can get out with a little bit more profit. When you join the ask, you're basically doing what it says. You're putting your sell over on the ask side, and whatever they move it up or down to, that's what you're willing to take. But most of the time, buy the ask and sell the bid. That allows you to get in and get out fast. You also have the auto send button. Let me pull up my screen since nothing's happening. You also have the auto send button, so it instantly sends when you click that button, or it instantly sells. You don't get that extra pop-up window. And you can find this auto send. You just click this gear icon and it's going to be in this list, and you move it over and then move it up. Right here. I went ahead and moved the price range all the way up to large caps as well. Had several requests for that, and I'm going to try to meet everybody's needs. FUTU was moving earlier this morning. Looks like it's going to be like XPEV the other morning. It would make a move and die. Later, make another move and die. And I just couldn't get into it for a profit. Yeah, Tupperware's been moving a little bit the last few days. This almost looks like a repeat of yesterday morning. If this is your first time here over on this chart, I'm using a 133 tick chart with two moving averages, the 8 moving average and the 21. And you can find the tick chart here by clicking the gear icon, favorite time frames, add a time frame, and you select tick here, and then you can select 133 tick here, add it, it'll pop up over here and move it up into wherever it fits here. And then you can select it, go back to your chart and select 133 in your time frame. I'm also using the pullback version 2 arrows. You can find all that on the YouTube channel. This volume labels on the YouTube channel. Yes, I did. I had trade ideas for quite some time until I wrote this V script, this V volume spike script. And then I discovered it was letting me know when a stock was moving faster than trade ideas. So I canceled trade ideas, and I didn't see any sense in paying for it when I created something that was free. Yeah, no matter what streaming service you use, uh, they're all going to be different. It all depends on which system refreshes first. Every system out there has a refresh rate of about 5 minutes. And you have to have that, or your computer or your server couldn't handle all of the data live all of the time. Good for you, Bob. Now you can eat beans with your rice. Every bit of savings it's like winning a small trade. A lot of companies reported earnings this morning. That's why some of these large caps are up. Well, it must be refresh the coffee cup time. Yeah, the on demand's not a perfect platform. I do have glitches. The price is never the same. Your profit and loss is not what it's supposed to be. But I do find it works well enough to practice. Not really concerned about the money side of it. I'm mainly concerned about when I click my mouse, what the indicators are doing. That's the part you need to master. So I don't pay any attention to the price in the on demand. It's mainly just watch the indicator and learn. I say learn because I still learn. After all of these years, I still get in there almost daily and practice on demand, even when the market's closed. I never stop practicing. I even have a laptop sitting on a TV tray by my recliner. And as the wife is watching something on TV, I'm sitting there with a mouse in my hand practicing. And according to this pre-market, yeah, if you practice all the time, you start picking up on price action, what a candle does before it moves up, how tall the candle is, how short the candle is. You start picking up on all of this. And most of the indicators, you kind of already know when it's going to happen before it happens. But it takes some time to get into that mindset. This is a real job. People don't realize that. You're putting your hard earned cash out there. If you don't learn it and master it, you're going to lose that cash, especially in this tough market. If you want to trade for a living, it's definitely a job. It's like launching a new job. You got to learn your mistakes and get rid of them so that you'll be green. If you're still out there guessing, you might as well go to the casino and throw your money in the machines and hope, or sit back and practice until you get it. I think coming to this live stream every morning, everybody's going to learn a lot. This is basically what you do all day long, what we're doing right here. We're watching for volume spikes and we're watching indicators. The indicators are giving us our best chance of making money. We just have to learn when to trust them. And from what I see, they are very accurate. I actually did a test a couple of weeks ago that every time I seen a crossover and a green arrow, now this is in on demand, whenever I saw that cross and that green arrow, I would buy just to see how many of them went up. And out of 10, 8 of them went up. Now, I don't know if that's going to repeat every time I try to just buy 10 stocks, but that was a pretty good odds. And they all start with that volume spike. Once this takes off, you go over here and look, see if you're going to get a crossover. And I prefer the 133 tick chart because if you look at the 1 minute chart, it's way different. Doesn't look like it's doing anything. But if you go to the 133, you can see that it made a run up and it's slightly pulling up, which you don't see on the 1 minute chart. It all depends on the size of the cost of the stock. If it's a cheaper stock, I want to say $10 and below, maybe 15. I usually start with 1,000 shares and I add to that position if it allows me to add. But if I get up in the higher price stocks, I may only buy 50 shares. It all depends on your budget, really, and your experience. Your experience will allow you to buy bigger size without panicking when you do it. I find that 1,000 shares is a good number for anything $10 and under. About, I don't know, 20 cents to $1. If you're holding 1,000 shares, you'll probably make a minimum of 200. But everybody doesn't have the same budget. So whatever your budget is, if I was starting out with $1,000, I would just concentrate on making $10 or $15 a trade. You'll end up with the snowball effect on your account and it'll start growing for you. And as it grows, you start purchasing more shares. On scalping, I don't have the fear of missing out syndrome. I don't think I've ever actually had that because when I scalp, I wait for it to take off. I grab my piece in the middle and I usually get out before it's at a peak because I know that big red candle sitting at the top somewhere where everybody's going to start taking their profit. There's a lot of times I leave $1 on the table that I could have had, but it doesn't bother me none as long as I get some of it. The whole thing is don't be greedy. You're never going to hit the exact bottom or the exact top. Maybe try buying smaller share size and just getting in when you feel that it's correct. Then you can build up some confidence. The more confident you get, the more share size you buy. I started at the bottom just like everybody else. I, at the beginning, panicked just like everybody else. It's just something you have to overcome through time, and the only way you're going to overcome it is to find something you can count on. And I think this setup here is very trustworthy. I'm still having that feeling some days where I knew I should have got in, but I didn't. I don't think I played HKD to the extreme. I may have slipped in and slipped out a couple of times and just got a piece of it. I'm not a buy and hold guy. If I'm in over a couple of minutes, I'm in too long. I played AMC back in the day when everybody was pumping it up, but I didn't do a buy and hold on it. I just got my pieces every time they were pumping it up. It's good to have stocks like that. It allows you to slip in and grab a little bit of it. When I get into a scalp, if I'm not immediately correct within the first 15 seconds or 20 seconds, I feel like I've made a bad decision and I get out. And most of the time I'm correct by getting out if it doesn't immediately start pulling up. Yeah, if you're wrong, you need to take the loss immediately. If you sit there hoping it's going to turn around and go back up, you are taking a bigger risk than the smaller loss you could have had. You just have to face the fact you made a bad decision. Okay, it didn't go up, I'm out. And a lot of people's problem is they have a small account, okay, so they end up hanging on, hoping one of their trades don't get wasted, and they end up losing. And you can't do that. And I think scalping dominates all of it. You can scalp on a short also, so you can play it both directions. Yeah, if you're limited in your funds and you're limited on your trades, just get out if you're wrong. take the loss. It's better to take a small loss and wait 2 days for your money to come back and try again. Never ever think, hey, it's going to eventually turn around, or you could end up thousands of dollars negative. Once a stock starts falling, other traders see that, and the guy that's holding a lot of shares, then he starts selling. And before you know it, you get a dollar drop in a stock. If you're in for 1,000 shares, you're going to lose $1,000. Alex, I always use limit orders. I use the green button called buy the ask and the red button called sell the bid. My stop is my mouse. I don't place a stop because I'm only in for a very short time, and my eyes never leave the screen when I've got money in there. So I'm watching for that drop. If it drops, I'm out. This one may move up, but I'm not a penny stock player, so I'm not going to buy any. It looks like there's only 1 or 2 buyers in there. That's why it's moving, so don't trust this one. I see a guy buying 100, one selling 300. But when there's no volume, it's easy to move a stock and make other people think, hey, they're buying this one. Alex, I don't do any long-term investing, so I can't answer that question. I don't do fundamentals. I don't do earnings. I don't do quarterly reports. I do volume spikes. I'm a scalper. I just get in and get my piece of the stock that's moving. I don't watch anything but that volume spike and those two and that setup you see on the chart. I don't care that John Doe says, hey, buy this, it's going to be worth $1 million in a month. I don't care about any of that kind of stuff. I just watch that volume spike. You do that every day, you'll put money in your pocket. If you look over at that chart, there was a crossover, a green arrow. It's going up a little bit. Had that stock had volume and everybody was interested in it, you could probably pick up 20 cents on that cheap stock. But scalping, volume counts. It needs to be as high as possible. You need action. You need that price jumping all over the place. You need it to turn around and start jumping, crossover, green arrow, everything's flashing. That's your entry point. In pre-market, you don't get that activity unless everybody's on one pre-market stock. If a stock is just creeping around, slowly moving up, pulling back, slowly moving up, I may watch it, but I'm not interested in buying it unless the volume doubles or triples. It's better to not trade a day and wait till tomorrow and get that one stock that makes up for yesterday's not trading. You can see there's some people getting interested in that stock now. There's 2,400 share buyer, a 700 share buyer, more than one people's buying it. I'm watching the ThinkorSwim ladder if you want to know where I'm getting this data. There's nobody on the seller side except for a few that's taking the profit since it started. There's a 12,000 share buyer. And since this stock is so cheap, I bet when it gets up about a nickel or 10 cents, they're going to dump it. The white line is an 8 EMA, and the blue one is a 21 EMA. The arrows, if you watch the video on the YouTube channel called Let's Trade the Pullback Strategy, you can add those arrows from that video. If you don't have the channel link, I'll paste it here, and you can just subscribe to the YouTube channel link, and you'll get everything as I update videos and create new scripts. Just remember, in scalping, the 133 tick chart is the money maker, not the 1 minute or the 5 minute or the 15 minute. If you're going to scalp, you need to know immediately when the price moves, and that's why I use a 133 tick chart. This weekend, I'll put a video out on this setup. I don't know if you have it with Interact. I know I've had it for years with ThinkorSwim. If you look up here on the ThinkorSwim platform, you can click the gear icon and go to your time frames. I don't know if you can do this in Interactive Brokers, but look for a time frame where you can change your time frames, and then look for an option for tick charts and leave it on day and select. You can select the ticks here, and I select the 133, and that's what you're seeing on the screen. You move it over to your list so you don't have to keep going to get it, and it'll end up here in your time. need some activity. Nothing's happening. This is a repeat of yesterday's pre-market. This is the entire market, and these are the only stocks that are moving. Alex, that's what the next video is I have tied the volume spike into that script. It's another confirmation before it posts that arrow. It looks to see if there's also a volume spike before it posts the arrow. That will tell us, hey, there is volume here and it's higher than normal. So by tying the two together, I have that script looking for pullbacks. I have it looking for red or green candles. I have it looking for volume spikes. I have it looking at the EMAs for the crossover. So it's doing a lot of mathematical calculations before that arrow post. So it's going to give you the best opportunity possible. And that's how I had that 8 out of 10 positive stocks in the on-demand. Is I tied it all together. I'm letting ThinkorSwim do all the thinking, so that I know when an arrow pops up, all I have to do is look at it. If it looks promising, I click. I don't trade all day. I trade till the market dies. And that's about 9:30, 9 or 9:30 in the morning. I don't sit here and wait and hope something happens. If you're the guy that sits here all day, more power to you. But yes, I use the 133 tick all day long. In a bull market, when the money's good, I sit here a lot longer, but I do set a goal so I don't overtrade and set the goal high. Like if you're a $500 a day guy, if you're happy with that, then quit trading before you lose it. My goal is around 1,000 to 1,500. Once I reach that goal, I go enjoy my day somewhere else and give my mind a break. I would highly suggest, if you're new at this, to set that goal real small. Be happy that you made $10, $5, $20 until you get comfortable with it. Dennis, it's not going to give you my desktop, but if there's a video called I think it's called My Profitable Day Trading Setup. And if you follow the beginning of that video, and you can, and you, the beginning of the video shows you how to create a blank screen with no indicators or anything on it. And then if you go over to the video that says, let's trade the pullback strategy, you can set up like I'm set up now. But it all starts with no indicators, a blank screen. So the two videos are My Profitable Day Trading Setup and Let's Play the Pullback Strategy. The link posted above is just a link to the channel with all of the videos. If you haven't viewed all the videos, I highly suggest you do. There's information in each one of them that'll help you in your trading. I'm going to put out a video probably this weekend on this current tick chart setup, and I'll include a link to my desktop if you don't want to do all the work. Just make sure you load the indicators first before you pull in my desktop, or it won't be correct. See that FUBO chart that we have up right now, FUBO? That's like the perfect setup if we had volume. And that's what's wrong with today's market, is everybody's depressed over our administration running the country. I think they do have some type of control. I can't confirm that, but I think they have some type of control over the market to keep these stocks down. I didn't experience this negativity in the market until this administration took over, and I can't wait till he's out of office. When the previous president was in office, the money was everywhere. Alex, just remember, the more money you put in that account, if you haven't learned and practiced, you're going to take another risk. Start slow. If this system's new to you, start slow. Just buy 50 shares, 20 shares till you get comfortable with it. There's not any system out there that's 100% accurate. This one has a very high rating, but I'm not going to tell you to count on it 100%. There's always that guy sitting in the background that's been sitting on that stock for so long, and it finally starts rising and it meets the strategy you're playing, and it jumps up 50 cents and he drops a big load and drops $2. There's always that chance out there. That's why I scalp and I don't hold on to the top of a run, because I know when that price is up there at the top, that guy may be sitting there. Good morning, Para. Active, I'm going to put out a video this weekend from step one to the end. Alex, that's everybody's problem. They get into the market and they say, "Oh, it's going up. I need to make $1,000," and they throw everything at it. But that's no different than gambling at the casino. Start small, let your money snowball and get larger and larger, and the larger it gets, the more shares you can trade. Just don't throw everything at it. Just buy enough to make some money and get back out of it. Good morning, Justin. Active, if you want to set up before then, you can go over to the Let's Trade the Pullback Strategy video. That setup is pretty close to what I'm using now. I was hoping this 7 o'clock hour would bring something to my attention. I see green numbers, but I don't see them rising, and that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for these numbers to get larger. Just because they popped up with a 12.66% doesn't mean that it's going to continue. It could have had no volume and somebody bought 1,000 shares, which gave it some volume, and therefore it shows 1266. But it wasn't driven up to this 12% by people buying the stock. So you really want to watch for these numbers to increase and grow. This is what you want to see. You want to see this number rising. This could be an IPO or something. It doesn't look like it's had very much trading. That's great, Justin. I ended up playing XPEV After I shut the stream down, I went downstairs to my recliner and turned on the laptop and turned on the market just so I could glance over at it every now and then, and ended up getting in XPEV for a couple $100. So I didn't get stuck yesterday. I did make something. Yeah, it's a lot of fun doing it this way. I mean, the setup is pretty accurate, a lot more accurate than waiting for the stock to repeat what it did in the past. I never did believe in that theory. I never believed in the support and resistance. Although I've been using them so long, every now and then you'll see me still throw them up on a chart. But are they really worth it? I don't think so. I think this volume spike is the heartbeat behind the whole market. If you get a spike and these numbers start growing, and you get a crossover on these two moving averages and a green arrow, the money's on. You just have to make sure there's enough volume in there to drive it up. And you can tell if there's enough volume by watching this number grow. And if you notice, if it starts growing down here, and if it gets stronger, it eventually works its way to the top. So I watch for, if I see one that I'm interested in, I'll click on it like this one. If it starts working its way to the top, that's another indication that it may be time to get in. Another thing to remember, if you get a good volume spike and it looked good and it disappears, that doesn't mean that stock's not still going up. This is only telling you, hey, there was a spike here. Now the volume's calmed down, so it disappears. A few seconds later, the volume picks back up and it appears again. So you really have to pay attention what's going on right here. Like this one's rising. Now, if it works its way up to the top of the list, that means more people are interested, but it disappeared. It may pop back up. That was Cigna again, and it's been popping up occasionally this morning, but it hasn't broken this level here. I'll go ahead and throw a line on it. Well, I like to put my lines on a 5-minute chart. So that's the pre-market high right there. That's the high level. That would be a level right there because it's hit the line several times. I don't think, yeah, that's probably a level 2. It's hit it twice here. I need it to hit at least 2 or 3 times on that same level. This would be a low right here. And then I switch back over to the 133, and there's your lines. So you can see this stock has resistance right here. It had resistance here, but up at this level, and then it pulled back and it couldn't break through again. But do I really need these lines? No, I don't. What I really need is I need to watch the volume spike over here. I don't care about these lines. They do have their function, but I'm more interested in what's happening here. I want to know if people are coming in or going out. You're welcome, citizen. Wyatt, there's many ways to play institutions. What would be your definition on your question? Over here, we just play volume spikes and moving averages and arrows. We don't care about institutions, lines on the chart, except for these two moving averages. We don't care about news. If it's good news, it's going to pop up here. We just care about buyers and sellers. Yeah, you have to find that time zone that works for you. If you don't want to scalp, you can change over to a 5 minute chart and do the same thing we do in scalping. These indicators are very versatile. See, all I'm doing here is I'm watching for these green spikes, and the ones that are growing, I click on them and go check on them. Then I wait for the crossover of these two moving averages, which they've already crossed. That cross happened back here. This has been a low volume stock because we don't have any green arrows showing to get in. So I wouldn't expect this stock to move very far. It's probably just a few more people getting in and it'll die again. If it was strong, it would stay listed over here and this number would keep on rising. I'm not working on the spreadsheet. We're in a market. where you can't hold anything long term. So any scan I created, whether it be a good scan or not, they couldn't perform because everything's been selling off after pre-market. So even if the stocks look great on the scan for stock picks for the next day, they never held their position. So I put a halt on it for now. If we can get into a bull market, that spreadsheet would probably work great for the next day. But since we're in this sell-off market, it just doesn't work. I can create some good indicators and some good scripts, but I can't control how the market overall responds. Right now, in pre-market, we're looking for needles in a haystack. I'm just glad we're not having to search for it manually. We're letting the volume spikes find them. I don't play cheap stocks, Alex. I try to stay above $5. Of course, that's a cheap stock, but I don't go down into the dollar range or the 50-cent range. If a stock is struggling to stay on the exchange, I know I'm not putting my money in it. For anybody that's new, I just posted the link to the YouTube channel. I highly suggest you go over and view the videos and see what we're doing over here in pre-market. That way you'll understand what we're doing. It's not really hard. If you've never been a scalper, you can learn to become a scalper here. We're trying to take the guessing game out of all of it. A good explanation is we're watching this V spike here for green spikes, and then we want to see the number grow. Once the number starts growing, this one's not growing, and we'll click on it and check on that stock. On the screen, we had the pullback indicator arrows, the 8 EMA and the 21 EMA. We wait for a crossover. We wait for a green arrow. We wait for the buyers to outnumber the sellers. And then we make our decision to get in or not. And it's that simple. It'll all become natural to you once you do this for a couple of months. You won't even be looking down here. You'll see this green flash in the corner of your eye. And you'll see these crossovers. And once you get used to how this volume spike's working, there's one growing, not any good. They all died. But once you get used to watching this and watching these numbers grow and waiting for a crossover and these arrows, here's a good example right here. We had a crossover, it threw an arrow, and the stock went up. Same thing here, threw an arrow, we had a crossover, and the stock went up. It's a very easy strategy to learn, and even if you lose, don't change strategies. Stick with this. It really works. If it didn't work, I wouldn't have put it out here. I've been using this system for years, not so much so as what I saw on a screen. I was watching the size of candles grow, which is the same thing of there's more volume in that one candle. And I was able to create this volume spike indicator based on what I was thinking and seeing on a chart. And by doing that, it made it easy for anyone to catch on because you're actually looking at my thoughts right here in an indicator. So you watch for volume spikes. Like right now, we have spikes, but none of them are growing. You watch for crossovers and an arrow. When these two indicators turn north like this, they're up in the air. That's a really good indication that these arrows are correct and that volume spike is correct. I'm using the 133 tick chart. You can set that up by clicking this gear icon, your favorite time frames, add a time frame, select tick, and select 133, add it. It'll move it over here, move it up to the list where it belongs, and go over to your chart and select it in your time frame. And you'll have the 133 tick chart. The SMA, this one is an 8 exponential, and this is a 21 exponential. I'm not using the simple, I'm using the exponential. The simple moving average is a little bit more volatile than the exponential. The exponential is kind of like a smoother, so it's not so volatile, it's easier to follow. You can see this low volume stock, it performed exactly how it's supposed to perform. Not so much so here, but you wouldn't have got in here because there was no green arrow here. But right here it threw a green arrow. I still wouldn't have got in because the lines are so close. But the minute I seen this green arrow and this separation, that's a good indication that it's going to continue up. And the wider these two moving averages spread apart, the stronger this rise is going to be. You first find them over here in this spike list. You haven't seen a crossover yet, or it just crossed over and you still have time to to play it. You're welcome, Active. You look at this entry point here, had you gotten in, you're looking at a 35-cent increase by the time it got here. At 1,000 shares, that's a $350 trade. That would be 10% in one day at a $3 stock. On one trade. So we're continually waiting for a volume spike to occur. It's almost 7:30. If you've been here on other live streams, this will probably die about 8 o'clock. I continue to stream until about 9:30. That's the time the market's been dying. And I'm not the guy that's going to sit here all day and hope something's going to happen. I've got better things to do. The most activity to me is pre-market and the first hour of trading. After that, I'm done. Now, if we were in a bull market, I'm going to sit here and make money all day long as I can. But since we're in a bear market, that's not happening. So I'm not interested in trading after 9:30. I agree, Alex. My bank loves Trump too. When he was in office, I was taking it in strong. Once y'all master this strategy, you haven't seen anything yet. Wait till you market and this market turns around green. You'll probably be trading like me in a few months. You won't care about how many shares you buy. You just get in and get out. But it's going to take the market to turn around for that to happen. Right now, we're lucky to get 1 or 2 trades a day before 9:30. In a good market, you'll probably have 5 to 10 to choose from all day long. Yes, it is. I believe there's 2 videos on pre-market. So all I'm doing is I'm sitting here and I'm waiting for volume spikes. Just because they lit up green, if this number's not growing, I'm not interested in checking the stock out. Right now, I'm clicking on them just to keep everyone interested. But we're in a pretty much flat pre-market this morning. Nothing's moving really good. One stock moved. It was too cheap for my budget. Hopefully some of y'all played it. So you just concentrate on this list. Let's say you're watching one and it's getting stronger and stronger. When you click on it, it's going to be blue. You'll see this blue line work its way to the top if it's a very strong stock. If it's just a group of buyers came in, they bought a few hundred shares and left, it's going to pop up and disappear. As long as the volume is increasing and the price is rising, it'll be green and this number will continue to grow. The closest thing I have right now on the video is the one that's called Let's Play the Pullback Strategy. That one will pretty much get you close to what you see now. I'm going to put out a video this weekend on this setup with the tick chart. I'll explain everything as I'm doing now. I'm going to go ahead on that video. I guess I'm going to start from a blank screen so everyone can have the same appearance when you're using this strategy to trade. If you're paying for a subscription service that scans stocks for you and you're waiting for them to pop up, this beats it. You're going to see the stock pop up here before your paid subscription shows it to you. You can make this indicator as sensitive as you want. You can move it down to 0.0, which would be as it happens live. I like to keep it on 1%, 2%, or 3%, depending on how the market is. There's a magic number there for each and every one of us. And the way you adjust that number is you right click on the name of the script and you edit the formula. Screen to move up. And this script's going to pop up. So right here it's 100. That would be 1%. 200 would be 2%. 300 would be 3%. So when you change this number to, let's say, 300, these stocks aren't going to show up unless it's a 3% spike or greater. If you put it to 200, it's not going to show up unless it's greater than 2%. So you can adjust it to your liking, and it even gets even more accurate for you when you find that number. Amazon's been popping in and out all morning. It doesn't have a lot of volume right now, but it is creeping its way up. Alibaba looks like it gapped up in pre-market before our market opened, and it's channeling to the side. This one looks like it must be a buyout. Usually that's what a stock does. If it's a buyout for a certain price, everybody gets in and hoping they can be part of the buyout. Yeah, that gap and go scan, that's a blessing, isn't it? It doesn't fire up right when the market opens because it's calculating all of the numbers, but it finds all of the stocks that gapped open higher this morning than yesterday's close, and then it checks to see if it's a. So about 20 minutes after the stocks start appearing in the gap and go, if you check what's listed in that list on the scan, you'll see that most of them continue. Some of them are quite slow. That's what I don't like about it. But they seem to slowly increase all day long until they finally die. And there's a video on that gap and go scan as well. Sure is dead this morning. I don't even see anything I can call out for market open yet. And it's almost 8 o'clock. Maybe we won't have a play at market open. We have some numbers popping up, but they're not growing. I've played Billy quite a few times. That's definitely a gap up from yesterday's close, but there's no activity. Chances are they had earnings come out and it spiked up. The market's not open yet. There's a lot of people that don't trade pre-market. They wait for market open, and we could see a spike out of Billy, but I'm not making any promises. You look over at Billy, you see 100% sellers and a bearish spike. It's red because of that little tiny red candle. There's no volume, so these indicators are kind of stuck in position. It doesn't have anything to calculate, so they don't move. So we're looking for a crossover, a green arrow. We're looking for green here, and we're looking for green here. Preferably we catch it down in the bottom somewhere and not up here at the top. This would be a risk play for me. How do we know if market opens and all of a sudden these guys that are in profit don't start taking it? We really don't know. The buyers would have to outnumber all of those sellers in order to rise. Indicator, and you're sorted by the V spike indicator. You want to bring all of these percentages up to the top, so you need to sort them right. I don't have anything special in that scan other than the after hours study selected in the 2%. Higher, if you look at the screen, that is my pre-market scan. Well, I lost it now. You can see all I have is a study with the after hours percent change set to 2%. I have a 25% minimum. I took off the maximum so the large cap traders could also participate with a 20,000 share volume. And it's set to mark on the price. So there's nothing special in that scan other than that after hours percent. And then I sort it with the V spike. I don't think there's anything special on the all stocks. I'll show it to you. I think all I have there is the average volume and the price range. That's the all stock scan. Just make sure pre-market and all stocks are set on daily. Let's see what the SPY is doing. It's up in pre-market, probably setting up for a sell-off when the market opens. The IWM, that's the small cap exchange. It's up, but it could sell off at market open. And the QQQ, those are the three I check every day. Usually when they're up in pre-market like this, they're declining when the market opens. Which one did you not get? The all stock scanner? Here is the shared link to the all stock scanner. Probably just click on the link and copy it from the URL in the browser that pops up and then paste it over in the open shared item. I'll go ahead and share the pre-market scanner as well. This PLTR, these are the kind of stocks you want to wait till market opens. Since they've already run up, there's no sense in trying to get in now. So if you wait till market open and wait for the pullback, it'll probably loop back up, give you a crossover and an arrow and some green windows on the labels, and that would be your play on this stock. Wait for the pullback at open, wait for the green arrows and the crossover, and this to turn green and the volume spike to turn green. Really don't have to watch these two. You should be able to see them in the corner of your eye. If you're new to the channel, here's the link to all the videos. Please subscribe and like the videos and click the bell icon to be notified of future videos. It really helps the channel grow. Right now, we're currently watching the V-spike indicator, looking for these numbers to start rising. We're waiting for volume to come in. That's what this is doing. It's detecting the volume spikes if they're greater than normal. We watch, once one pops up green, we watch if this number continues to rise. We definitely go check it out. Then we wait on a crossover, such as here, with a green arrow below it. The stock pulls up and pulls back, but we got another green arrow to get in, and the stock takes off. The wider this separation between this 8 EMA and this 21 EMA, the stronger the rise. You can wait on this yellow arrow to get out. I don't. I get out when I see the first sign of weakness. Sometimes I don't even wait that long. If I'd have been in this stock and it gapped up, I'd have immediately got out. Good morning, Lawrence. I'm a scalper. I don't hold on to nothing longer than I have to. Since this is a tick chart, this is probably less than a minute trade here. So I would have been in and I would have been out the moment it spiked up or gapped up. I don't care what happens after that. As long as I get my piece, I'm happy. Your main focus should be here right now. We don't care what's over here. We're watching for green spikes and we're watching for that number to grow once it spikes. That's when you click on it and you check out the chart. This is a 133 tick chart. You select the ticks from here. If you don't have a tick, Click on this gear icon, go to favorite time frames, add a time frame, select tick, and you can select that 133 here. Thank you guys. I'm glad I could help. Not everybody does what I do. I'm excited to share what I've learned through the years. Most everybody now, they want to charge you to even get a whisper out of them. And I really think that's nonsense because they all learn from somebody else as well. I don't see any sense in not paying it forward and helping other people be successful in the market. My job as a coder is to create scripts that interpret what my mind has done over the last 30 years of trading and put it in an indicator. This is pretty much what I was looking for. I was watching green candles, and the taller they got, the higher the volume got. And I was able to break that thought down into an indicator so that we could watch the percentage of the volume as far as buyers and sellers, or bullish or bearish, and simplify what I was thinking in an indicator. You can get the V-spike indicator. Go watch the video that's called Let's Trade the Pullback Strategy. It'll show you how to set that up. That script is actually on many of the videos. I incorporate it in with other indicators. So you can find that V-spike on a lot of the videos. Let's see if Intel can give us a good example here. It had a big pull off. It may not go very high. Let's see if we can get a crossover and a green arrow, and a spike here and a spike here. It's going to take some buyers to come in for that to happen. It is bullish over here. If you can see, the number is rising, or was. There it goes again. You have to keep in mind that there was somebody in this stock and they walked away and they come back and this is down here. When they looking for a way to get out because they panic, and you're going to see a pullback after a short rise. They're going to try to cut their losses. It may be minimal, and we always hope it is minimal and to continue to rise. But if you look back over here, that volume has died. So that's not going to be a play as of right now. This blue line was up here. You're welcome, Active. You're welcome, Hire. So after market open, you're going to be watching this scan, the all stocks. Not really going to be able to play it at market open. As with any indicator, this screen's just going to fill up with a bunch of garbage. And the best time is to wait till the market calms down. And the ones that are left over may be the players, or you may not have a play for today. If you're a risk player and this column is full of red and green, and you can get the one that's rising and take a chance at it, that's going to be on you. I prefer to wait till things calm down because it's so volatile, you really can't tell if it's going up or down, or if it's going to hold that up or down. I'm also going to have the gap and run scan up here. The gap and run is looking for all stocks that gapped open higher this morning than yesterday's close. And then it's going to calculate the percentage of the chance of that stock continuing to rise throughout the morning. That's the gap and run scan. There's a video on it. You can create that scan off the video and add the numbers to the watch list. Let's trade the pullback strategy. It's going to already have the spike alert label that's going to appear here. It's included in this script with the arrows. This is the custom volume label. You can find that in a video as well. These two indicators are exponential. This is the 8. This is the 21. You can load them. It's part of ThinkScript for ThinkorSwim. Yeah, I definitely need that video made. I'll get it done this weekend on this setup. That way I don't miss any trades in the morning trying to explain what we're looking at. So subscribe to the channel, like the videos, click the bell icon, and when that video comes out, you'll get a notification at the top. If you're scalping, I prefer the 133 tick better. It's a quicker entry and a quicker exit. If I were trading all day long, I would never leave the 133 tick chart. It's those little spikes that you profit from. As long as you wait on that crossover and that arrow, you can pick up sometimes small, sometimes large gains throughout the day. I don't find this market cooperating like that. We're in a bear market. We have been for a long time. So I don't sit here past 9:30 in the morning. When you use this strategy, you have to pretty much forget about everything you learned in the past, everything on as it happens. You're not looking for a repeat of the past. You're looking for the creation of the future. And that's what this allows you to do, is to trade the market live and not relying on what happened before. There's one rising. went bearish, kind of flipping back and forth. Was a weak run. I look over here at this price. If I see a big green candle right here and I didn't get at least 20 cents out of it, I'm not even interested in this stock. This is from 238 to 242 to 244 with big green arrows or big green candles. Yeah, it's like the fourth one down from here. If you look at the screen, I clicked on it. It's definitely up here towards the top. If you loaded the pre-market scan and the all stock scan, I sorted by this V spike right here. You can do that just by clicking on it and bringing all the percentages to the top. So anything down here that moves is going to come up here if it's moving. You don't have to keep looking down the list. Everything that's moving is going to be up here in this zone. And see, BJDX disappeared because there's not enough activity there to keep this volume spike going. Now it's back, but it's bearish. If this stock would get strong, it would work its way to the top. These numbers would grow, it would stay green, and that would be a sign of strength. This morning, everything seems to be bouncing up a few cents and dropping off. In this market, you might not get a play every day, but when you get one, you ought to be able to make a pretty decent profit on it. There's two pre-market videos. You can watch either one of them. I think they both have the setup. I posted a link above if you just want to copy the link, the shared link, and then you go to setup at the top of your ThinkorSwim and open shared item and paste that link in there by pushing Control V on your keyboard. V is in Victor. And then preview and import. And it should show up in your scan list. GG, the two watch lists. This one it's not a pre-market scan. It's just all stocks in general. This one becomes more active after market open. Sometimes I have both of them up here because sometimes I see a stock start growing over here before it makes it over to pre-market. So I watch these two in pre-market, and then after the market opens, I watch all stocks, and I'll pull up another watch list that's called Gap and Run, and that's the two that I'm going to watch for the remainder of my trading. This stream will end at 9:30. I don't normally trade past that time, but it's recorded. Once the stream ends, you can always go rewatch the stream. So at this time, there's not going to be very many pre-market stocks popping up. We're getting close to market open, and a lot of people don't like holding pre-market gainers into the open in fear of losing their profits. So in a few minutes, I'm going to change over to the market open scans over here, and we'll start monitoring that. I'll do that in about 5 minutes. I'm Central Time. See you later, Bob. At market open, everything's going to become very volatile in this scan. Be cautious, wait till the market calms down, and if there's any leftovers that's still strong after market open, that's the ones you want to play. What I'm looking for here before market open to see if anything's going to start popping up before market open. That would be a good indicator that that's going to be a good stock to play at market open. But so far this morning, it's been very weak pre-market. And at this time, I don't know which stock is going to pop at open. Normally, I can call out a couple of stocks just from watching this list and finding the 2 or 3 strong stocks that may dip and rise at open. Yeah, Para, it's growing daily. I think when they catch on, we're going to get overcrowded. But that would be a blessing to me. I'm just hoping everybody watches the videos and learns, because I don't want to turn my trading session into a teaching session. I don't mind right now because the market's doing nothing, but I prefer everyone learn off the videos. And I'll put that video out this weekend with this setup, starting from scratch. So you'll have a clean screen. And what you really want to do, let me change screens, is I know you have different setups, so I don't want you to lose your different setups. You may want to go back every now and then and trade the way that you were normally trading. I don't see why you would do that, but so let's say I tell you, let's do this setup here. First thing you want to do is go to setup and save the workspace as something different. I call mine scalping. And then you save the workspace, and then you're going to go into studies and you're going to delete everything in here. And then I'm going to take you into the setup of ThinkorSwim. We're going to adjust all these settings so that you end up looking like this with these indicators and these volume monitors and the spikes and the bid and the ask. So it may be quite long video, but it'll be worth you watching every minute of it. So it doesn't look like anything's going to pop up before market open. I'm going to go ahead and change over. I'm going to move the all stocks to the left, and I'm going to put the gap and run over here. Nothing's going to pop up in this gap and run for the first few minutes after market open, because it needs to find all the stocks that are gapping up after market opens. So it takes a few minutes to do that. Then it also has to calculate the volume, if it's a positive or negative volume. If it's positive, it may have a continuation to run up, so it'll post them stocks in here. So this is going to be the greatest chance of stocks gapping up at open and rising for a short time in the morning. Just monitoring this V spike after market open. Is going to get very volatile. Wait for it to calm down. The remaining stocks will be the ones to play. Since we're going into the market open, I'm going to raise my percent gain to 3%. That's my magic number. And you do that by right clicking on this volume spike name and edit properties. And I'm going to change this to a 300. And that's going to limit a lot of stocks here. In other words, if they don't have at least a 3% gain, they're not going to show up. That takes a lot of noise out of the market. As you can see now, we only have a few. You could actually create two columns with this V spike, leaving one on your pre-market setting and one on your market open setting. So you can just refer to either column instead of continually changing that spike percent. Lots of stocks move 1% and 2% all day long, and you don't need to be watching those stocks if they're not going to take off and give you some profit. 1 or 2% is pennies, really. Just the typical movement of a stock. What you want is the ones that really spike up high and continue to grow. You may even find that putting 500 on that volume spike for 5% to work better for you than a 3%. Yeah, Para, I just said that. You can create two spike columns, one for pre-market and one for market open, and raise that percent on the market open. That way you're not switching back and forth and continually changing the percentage. You could actually make 3 or 4 columns, changing the percentage higher on each one, and that would key you off on a stock that's the strongest. That makes it over to your 5%, you know it's really kicking. So if you do multiple columns, always sort it by the smallest column. Don't worry about sorting it by the other columns that you create with this volume spike, because if it pops up here, it's also popped up here. So sort it by the smallest percentage and don't worry about the other. It looks like it may be an IPO stock. It has no previous trading. I'm talking about BIOL. You can see that since I changed that percent to 300, now we have higher volume stocks showing up, or stocks with more activity than the lower range percentage. Higher, are you using the one that has the V2 at the end, version 2? Hey everyone, we got about a minute to go. I'm going to go silent here and see if I can't make some money. You just need to watch this column. Once it calms down, watch this column here. Click on the ones that are rising. Even here when they list, make sure they're rising and see if it's something you want to purchase. All right, I'm back. This is what I was talking about. You have to wait. It almost faked me out right here. We did not get a green arrow. We are getting it now. There may be still room for upward movement on PLTR. Looks like it's laying flat though. We have a second green arrow. It's showing some strength. Looks like it's going to fail though. It may pull back down to this low, which is here, before it spikes up. In other words, this is called a retest. It's going to come back down to this level. And if these lines switch around and we start getting green arrows that the selling is over, it's going to return up to maybe this level. If it does turn around, I wouldn't buy unless it's higher than this level. That candle just came back down and retested this level. We may see a pull up here. Nice little bump there. Another green arrow, another spike. I would probably get out if I were in at this level, just because it's showing weakness. But then again, it'll probably continue because I got out. That's how that usually goes. But we got a nice crossover. We got an arrow, another arrow of a continuation, two more arrows, maybe a third one. And there's your weakness. So about a 25-cent run up. We had good separation between the two moving averages. We still have good separation. It's still rising. Got some profit takers in this area. I would have already been out when I seen trouble right here. I wouldn't hang on hoping for more, even though it's going up. I would have gotten my piece of the pie and been happy with what I got. So this is what you watch for every day. And if you have volume on your on your watch list, when the market opens, sort it by the highest volume. That may work better for a lot of you. That's how I found PLTR, even though it was falling. That's really what you want to find. You want to see the ones that were high in pre-market and sold off at open, and you want to wait for that sell-off to stop. Then you want to watch for it to take off, but you don't want to get in here. You want to wait for a pullback. And then you want to start seeing separation between these two lines with a green arrow. Once you get used to this, you'll be targeting everything you see that's got this set up. You really can't beat this setup. I mean, if you want to scalp and do it live and do it on a tick chart, I mean, you can miss a few, but I bet you get a lot more than you miss. So if I would have got in here, which I wouldn't have because there was no green arrow, but let's say I had a green arrow here and it turned red, I'd have got out and accepted the loss when I saw this. But I'd have continued to watch for the pullback. And if I get another setup with the green arrow, I would have get back in and run it up. So patience is the key in any market. Like being patient right here would have paid off. You wouldn't have got in because there was no arrow. It pulled back, but you continue to watch because there was a lot of volume behind this stock. And then once you see the setup happen again, pretty much failed here, but no green arrow. But it once that green arrow kicked in and we started seeing separation and we broke this bounce here, it took off. So later in the day, since there was volume on this stock, you may have that set up again. It may pull back to this zone. It could pull all the way back down to this zone and turn right around and do this again. This stock might not be in everybody's price range, but it was a good example of what to look for in a live market. So when the market opens, sort your watch list by the highest volume down. And the ones that are strongest are going to be at the top. Because if you think about it, the higher this percentage, the higher the volume. So the higher volume stocks are going, that's the ones you really want to see this percentage take off on, is the higher volume stocks. So you can really trust these green arrows. It kept saying it's going more, it's going more, it's going more. And then up here it said it's going more, but then it got weak and posted a yellow. So you could have held on all the way to this yellow arrow. If it's 7 times the volume, but it's not spiking volume, it's not going to show up. The volume bar has to exceed the average volume, and that's the indication of a spike. So if it's 7 times the volume, but it just gradually made its way up to the top without a spike, you won't see it pop up under the V-spike indicator. It could have been in all the noise at market open and you didn't see it. Of course, we probably all wouldn't have seen it because it would have been lost in the crowd in here. But if it's high volume and you sort that watch list by volume at market open from highest to lowest, you may have seen it in the list. Gigi, I've never tried it on options. I'm not an options trader. Set it up for options and watch it one day without trading and see how it performs, and it'll give you a good answer. After market open and on the all stock scan, sort it by volume, highest to lowest. The stocks that are moving are going to have the highest volume. The market's already died this morning, so there's no volume spikes. I have mine set to 3%. So it's going to pop up once a spike is higher than 3%. You can really trust these arrows. They're not there just because they're pretty colors. There's a lot of calculation behind these arrows. It's not posting an arrow just because it's a green candle after a red, even though it's looking for the green candle after the red ones, but you may see 8 or 10 red ones before that green one is posted and before this green arrow posts, because it's certain calculations it's got to meet before these arrows come out giving you confirmation it's going to go up. It's not like building an indicator from an MACD and just because it crossed 30 it posts an arrow. Just because it crossed 30 doesn't mean you have the volume there to support a rise in price. These arrows are looking for that rise in price and that increase in volume. So these arrows are pretty good indication that this stock's going to go up. And this yellow arrow is looking for volume spikes in the opposite direction. And as soon as it sees a red candle that the volume's increasing, it's going to post this yellow get out arrow. And when you pair these arrows up with these two moving averages and this percent spike, you almost can't miss. You just have to be cautious and don't get faked out. Like here, I thought it was going to cross, but then I looked back and there was no green arrow. But then once the green arrows kicked in and you start seeing separation, of course, this is yesterday. This is not today. Today was right here. So I wouldn't have even played this stock, but I could have. The price was above the 8 EMA and these arrows said it's going up. Of course, it was only a 30 something. You have enough shares, that 35-cent move is a lot of money. If you're new to this kind of trading, I suggest logging in every day. Watch the pre-market, what we're doing. Get used to the activity that's happening around these arrows and moving averages and the activity in these spikes. It's real easy to perfect. It's like it comes natural to me. It can become natural to you once you do it long enough. So watch it. Don't try to buy or sell. Just write it down on paper. If you said, okay, it said buy here, just write that price down. And then it says get out here and write that price down. And watch the stocks all day long. If we have a good market and it doesn't bore you to death looking for something that's going up. You can even go into the on demand and just find the highest volume stocks and turn it on, reset the time and on demand to the beginning of the day, and just watch how these things perform when the market's not open. Once you get used to that, then the trading is on. Start with small share size till you build confidence, and up your share size as you become more comfortable. Right now, if you're new, don't waste your money because I said look here. Because if you don't know what you're looking at, you could lose money. No, they're all preset. It's just an 8 and a 21 EMA. You don't have to change the arrows. You don't have to change a V spike unless you want to. I find that my percentage in the V spike is 3% after market opens, but I'll move it down to 1% in pre-market. I'll probably just make 2 columns tonight, and so I don't have to keep going back for market open or market close. That is correct. But I will say this, they perform a lot better on a tick chart. They move faster, they cross faster. If you go to a 5-minute chart, you're probably going to lose 10 cents or 15 cents before it triggers. But if it triggers on a 5-minute chart, that means it's going up past 5 minutes. Just that you give up a little bit of the profit. The best way is to learn how to trade fast. You're a scalper. Scalpers are in and out quick. So you need to find stocks that are jumping up fast, or that way you can just pull the trigger when you see things like this on the screen. You're learning, that's all that matters. Others will pick up on it. If they sit here every day and they watch what's going on and keep seeing these stocks pop up and start rising, they're going to take interest as well. So any questions, if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. If I don't have an answer, I'll tell you I don't have an answer. I don't claim to know everything, but I know some good things. So we didn't get any gap and run stocks this morning. That tells me everything that gapped up fell in price. Maybe later in the day, this watch list may start filling up, but I prefer to see them no more than 5 minutes after market open. This is a very, very powerful scan right here. This is what I'm talking about. The market dies about this time every morning. Thank you, Para. So the most important thing you can do is to go watch the video that's called Let's Play the Pullback Strategy. After I put out the next video over the weekend, it's going to include this setup from the beginning to the end. This is the setup I use 24 hours a day. Of course, I don't trade 24 hours a day, but I never change from this setup. Even if I lose on this setup, I don't change this setup because I win way more than I lose. So just because you failed one day doesn't mean you're not going to be positive the rest of the week. A lot of people jump from strategy to strategy and they never get locked in on one particular setup and they continue to lose. So these stocks are popping up. Don't forget that I changed this to 3% right here. This morning in pre-market, it was set on 100, which is 1%. We're currently looking at 3%. If something good is going to happen, it's going to be way over 3%. It may start at 3%, but it could jump as high as 25% or 30%. So that's what I would be waiting on, is something to pop up here that's way over 3% and those numbers are rising. If I was still on 1%, stuff like this would be showing up, which is totally worthless. We have a few popping up. I would feel like I was chasing this stock if I tried to get in. This one has a crossover, but no arrow. Not enough buyers in BITF. Volume's barely moving. It's actually not moving at all. Well, there it went. Yeah, it's pretty quiet right now. Nothing happening. There are some stocks moving up. Most of them ran up when the market opened, so they got lost in the noise up here. This was a continuation play. It started rising 2 days ago. It made some moves yesterday morning late, and it looks like it started about 9 o'clock this morning. So if you put all of these stocks, like today's gainers, put them in a watch list and always check them the next day for continuation plays. And you can build a watch list of your favorite stocks and bring them over here to this strategy and monitor them each day. Just make a list of your favorites to play, and you don't have to deal with all of this in the morning. You can play your private list that you like and just wait for this to happen. I've been caught in halts. Luckily, the ones I've been caught in, I was able to get out of. I still have a fear on halts because I'm usually in heavy. I've made money after the halt resumes, but I've also lost money. If a stock is really climbing, I try to picture in my head, okay, if it rises more than 10% in one candle, it's time to get out. I usually try to call that around 8% if it's rising that fast. So when you make an entry, calculate in your head, okay, what's 10%? And then look at what price you need to be out at and make sure you're clear of a halt before it happens. We have about 14 minutes to go before I shut down the stream. The market's dead. I don't sit here all day waiting for something to happen. So at 9:30, the stream will be ending. If you have any questions, now's the time to ask. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. It helps the channel grow. And we'll be back tomorrow morning at 6 a.m., actually about 10 minutes till. You're welcome. I'm going to put out a video this weekend over this setup. You're welcome, Dennis. You're welcome, Sandra. Thank you guys for showing up. Remember, this stream will be recorded and I will make it visible to the public as soon as we end the stream. You want to go back and review, you have that opportunity ahead of you. Going to try to get that Discord channel up this weekend. I don't know if everybody's familiar with Discord, but I know I'm not, so it's going to be a learning curve for me. I don't know if I'm going to have to stream on YouTube or stream only in Discord. I don't know if other people don't want Discord and they want me to continue streaming on YouTube. I just have to play my cards and see which direction I need to go. If I can stream both without it being a big hassle for me, I'll stream both. Excuse me. You're very welcome. It's not the weekend yet, Para. We got one more day to go, or is this Friday? Am I a day behind? Oh, it is Friday. That's why we don't have any stock plays. This I call Friday's sell-off day. Everyone's taking profits and being all cash before the weekend. Tom, that's good news. I've been experiencing some delays from the YouTube servers. Had a real bad problem one morning. It was a 30-minute delay. Wasn't nothing I could do. I can't fix their servers. I don't know if I'm worried about being the fastest. I think everyone should have this set up on their own computer and rely on their own connection and not a stream from any platform. These streams are basically to help everybody get set up. And the best way is to have multiple monitors set up so that you can just look left and right without switching tabs, because you switch tabs and you lose time. So if you can possibly get set up with multiple monitors where you have your watch list on one and your trading platform on the other, you're just looking from left to right. It's a lot more efficient for the trader. I think right now we have a 5-second delay from what I'm seeing and what you're seeing. I don't suggest trading off of the stream. Everyone should have their own setup on their own desk or table, wherever you trade from. That way you have the fastest response time. I'm looking at your view stock. I put it up there on the chart. You can see how determined these green arrows are. So I do have a scan that finds this 8 moving average crossing over the 21 moving average, but it only works if you're on a 1 minute time frame. But it will find every stock, so you're not waiting on something to happen. If you want to trade this on a 1 minute stock, you can. But that scan, if you know how to create scans, just create a scan that the 8 moving average crosses over the 21, and you'll be able to just click on your list of crossovers over here and watch for spikes. You can use this percent thing with any of your favorite scans. You don't necessarily have to play the open market like I'm doing here. If you want to create a scan that says the 8 crosses the 21 at your price range and at your volume level, then you can play those stocks every day. You don't have to play the stocks that we're finding. So if you have a favorite scan, consider pulling it up on your watch list that contains this V spike. And you can watch your entire list. If you sort it by the spike, you can watch your entire list without having to click on every stock. So on the spreads, on these indicators, it's not showing up here. Let me change to 1 minute. So on a tick chart, a lot of indicators won't show up. So this spread indicator comes with these arrows. This is the pullback arrows. And you can go in, let me show you how to go in to your studies and edit studies. And here's that. Well, it's not there. So you're going to have to go into the script and look for the let me see if I have it in this script. I may not have it in this one. That's the spike. I don't have it in this script. But in the next one that's coming out, you'll be able to click here and it's going to have that spike indicator, and you'll be able to set the percentage or the cents that you don't want to trade if the gap is higher than this number. So currently, I have this one set at 9 cents. So it's at 1 cent now. So if it exceeds a 9-cent spread, it's going to turn red. So you can adjust this number in the next script that's coming out. Like if you want to allow yourself a 15-cent spread, you can adjust it. You get the arrows from watching the Let's Trade the Pullback strategy. I have that script down below the video. All of my scripts are in the first comment below all of the videos. And in the video, I walk you through how to set up those scripts. You copy that script and I tell you where to paste it. And these indicators show up on your chart. That's why I highly suggest everyone watch the videos, because you actually need to know what's happening within your own system. The video that's coming out this weekend will have everything in it. Actually, all of this stuff is already on the YouTube channel. It's just in different videos. I've upgraded the pullback arrows, and the new version is going to be in this next script that comes out, but the current version still works fine. You can find that in the Let's Trade the Pullback Strategy video. All right, guys, I'm going to call it an end. Have better things to do. Go watch the videos, get your computer set up, and have a blessed weekend. I wished I could. I gave up on the lotto many years ago when I lost $10. There's a lot shorter long shot in the stock market.